All right, and I think we'll probably start here. All right. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. This is my great friend, Alex Prete.
Yeah.
The one, the only. Welcome to the second episode of the Media Medium show. Last time around, we had my friend Ryan Francis Chena. This time, we're gonna have Alex Prete.
And it's Media Medium.
Media Medium. What do you think of that? Give me your thoughts.
It's a title. It's alliterative. We like that.
Yeah. What does it affect in you? Like pros and cons.
Media. I've definitely always been a big media consumer. So I'm definitely pro. I like that. Medium's not bad. You know, medium's kind of nice. I prefer, like, in terms of steaks, I prefer mine a little medium rare.
Oh, we went the steak direction.
But medium is good. Mediums they're psychics. They see into the future.
See, now when you hear medium, do you think of like a media psychic, like somebody who makes gleanings about media through a crystal ball, or do you think of like media as a form of medium by which to make other content?
I guess I could I could see it both ways. I mean, you know, like I feel like if I was watching you know, like a little like morning talk show and they were like, next up we have the media medium, I would definitely be viewing it in like one
a daytime
way.
segment of
Sure.
Somebody who talks about things.
But yeah, you know,
based on how she seems in this movie, I think she is in love with Liam Neeson.
Sure.
Have you seen that Pam Anderson Liam Neeson stuff?
With the new, I know that they were in the Naked Gun movie, and
but they're
dating
they're
now,
like
right?
in love.
Is that okay?
It's like the most heartwarming shit ever.
Sure,
they're adorable together.
Yeah.
They're like this older couple.
I love it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
She's had a lot of heartbreaks. He's had a lot of heartbreak. He's a widow.
She was with Tommy Lee Jones.
She was with a few notable people.
I'm not
versed
on it.
Yeah, but I don't think this is that type of show.
Well, we're in it. This is it. Our
okay, all right.
Cool. What do you think of Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson?
It's great. I mean, you know, I think if you can find love at that age after that much like loss and heartbreak, I think that's a really nice thing, and I think that we should celebrate that.
So we haven't made it feels like we're breaking formalities because we haven't made the establishment of you as this media authority. But my friend here, Alex,
obviously I'm the expert.
He knows a lot about shows and movies and stuff, and we're gonna get into that. But this has just come up organically, and it's a conversation that's so ripe.
Yeah,
that you know it's fun to think about. Do you think they'll cast them in more movies together?
I don't know. I mean, well, obviously, there's going to be the Naked Gun. Historically, has been a trilogy, so we have to assume that there are going to be two more, at least, Naked Gun movies following this. And if they do it in reverse order of what they did originally, then they could do 3 movies and then a TV series, as the original started as a TV series and then they did 3 movies.
See, this is why he's here.
Expert.
I had no
media
idea.
Expert.
I had no idea about that.
Oh, you didn't know that it was a TV show originally? No. Police Squad. Yeah. It's a 6 episode. Very British. Only 6 episodes.
Like Monty Python's kind of humor?
Yeah, but it's the same humor as if anybody has seen the Naked Gun movies. It's that. But in
droll and witty and
I mean, I haven't seen like the whole, but from what I've seen, it's very funny if you like that humor.
So for me, the page being media mediums meant being like all forms of media are effectively our medium.
Yes.
Our medium for presentation.
I like it. So you don't claim to see the future by any means.
No, absolutely not. But I think they will get married. I think Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson will get married.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Because I think it's not only makes sense because if they're in love and they're older and they're both single.
Do you think she hyphenates,
they have
or
the means.
do you think she takes his name?
He's a strong guy. I don't think he.
Pam Neeson, though. That's not a great.
Now
name.
her name is iconic. Pamela Anderson is an iconic sex symbol of a name.
Pamela Anderson Neeson. Though. That's kind of a
Neeson just sounds almost like one word, but it's just weird. It's a weird word. It sounds like some like designation for some historical insect. Anderson Neeson.
Yeah,
right.
I can see that.
The Anderson Neeson was present on Earth 16,000 years ago. But no, to get back to that, the seriousness of it. I hope they fall in love.
Me too.
Good for them. And if it becomes a trilogy, how fun would that be? To watch their love blossom, and then they have this film career, and then maybe they make a movie about it.
About the two of them, like,
could you imagine
like the series that they just did about, because they already did a series about her and Tommy Lee, their relationship.
Could you imagine how easy of a time the casting director would have casting Pam Anderson and Liam Neeson?
They've already cast Pam Anderson once in a TV show.
Yeah, but if they made a love story of Pam Anderson, Liam Neeson, they could cast Pam Anderson as Pam Anderson.
Oh yeah,
and Liam Neeson as Liam Neeson.
That's very true. They're both of those actors are right now
slam dunk.
Very hot.
Yes, they were both recently in The Naked Gun.
Yeah, it's true. That is
Have
true.
You seen that?
I heard about that.
And they're dating.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Pam Anderson from Baywatch and Liam Neeson from Schindler's List.
So that's a fun thing to do when you say like from a movie. Do you ever like think about like if you were ever to meet a celebrity, like you'd say like, "Oh, I loved you in." Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about the thing you would say to a celebrity for?
I will say humble brag. I've encountered a few celebrities.
Oh, what did you do?
IRL. And
did you invoke their work?
No, because I'm the type of person. For people who know me, it might sound a little odd, but I would say that
we're gonna work back to introductions.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, because obviously the audience thus far is very familiar with me as a
hope the audience can glean. We're already in deep waters here. Okay. So we'll get back to introductions.
In my life. Anytime that I have like seen a celebrity in real life, I've always just kind of gawked at afar. I've never been the type of person to ever really want to approach a celebrity because, real talk, I don't really I feel like they get it. They get it so many fucking however many it's a part of their job, getting that so many times a week. I just don't want to be another voice to add on to that. But yeah, I mean, celebrities are cool. I worship them. Whatever their viewpoints are, I would like to take on to my own.
It's funny. Well, maybe you can help me with this because I have this idea of if I ever meet certain especially actors, I want to tell them, you're that person from, and then name some obscure thing.
Yeah,
especially if they're super known for one thing.
Yeah,
like in Parks and Recreation, the guy who played Gary Gergich, Jerry Gergich.
Yes,
which is a joke they make about not knowing the name. I guess I didn't even.
What would you say that you knew him from?
I'd be like, "Oh, you were great in Accepted."
Oh, I didn't know who.
He was just randomly one of the parents.
Oh, okay,
that
makes sense.
One of the parents in the movie.
And do you think that in doing so, that would make him
I do think it would ingratiate me to the celebrity.
And is that ultimately your goal? You want to do this so that this person thinks about you. Like, they go home later, and then they're like, that little role that I had an impact on that hairy man.
More than it's funny, I've never been described as that until recently. But it's funny. No, it's just like when you think about the ways to navigate a conversation, there's few ways to be novel, you know. But so if you say, "Hey, I recognize this amount of time you spent to this project, however small," you know, they'll be like, "Oh, you know," it's like I would imagine it triggers a nostalgic thing because films, like, you know, we're gonna get more into this. We're about to do the introductions right after this, but you've been on production casts for like theatrical productions. There's this like, you know, this crew bonding. Yeah. You know, there's like this nostalgia, this sense of nostalgia for each production you're in, and I'd imagine the same applies to like each film set. You know, however big or small.
I will say, like, to like the point that you were kind of making before, is that like I do, you know, in my like grander fantasies, you know, like where I am like actually meeting these people one-on-one, you know, and like having a real conversation with them. I do, you know, in a lot of times see myself kind of like not talking about their, you know, like you meet Tom Hanks, you don't say that you loved him in Forrest Gump, you know.
What would you go with?
So, personally, I met Tom. If I met Tom Hanks, I would mention the fact that, you know,
it feels like everything he was in was big.
So
not to make a pun.
I was going to say that
has he been in a deep cut?
So I mean, I feel like Tom Hanks being in a movie, like even the older stuff that he's been in, solely makes it not a deep cut anymore. The Money Pit,
that came after like Bosom Buddies,
Bachelor
right?
Party is another one.
That's like that era, yeah. Bosom Buddies,
and I feel like a lot of these things, it's like just the fact that Tom Hanks was in that movie makes it not a deep cut anymore.
It's wild, right? It feels like everything he has been in, it stamps it. It's like Tom Hanks certified.
Yes.
And
but I, as a part of my, not, you know, we're gonna get into introductions, but a part of my, you know, history, I, you know, as a kid, I did a production of, as you know, Big the Musical.
Oh, that's right.
So Big has always been kind of like that's always been a role of Tom Hanks that I've always kind of seen as it's a movie that a lot of people know and a lot of people like, but I don't. It's not really one that I feel like people talk about as one of his best roles. Like people talk about, they talk about like Forrest Gump, they talk about Philadelphia, but they don't talk about like the fact like how. It's very hard to, like, accurately portray a child as an adult. Like, as an acting exercise, that's, like, kind of a hard thing to do. Like, it's almost, it's not exactly the same thing as, like convoking, like, the characteristics of, like, an animal, but it's kind of similar. Like, children have a very like kind of very specific way that they act. Yeah. Yes, and he does such a good job. That whole movie, like not for a second do you view this adult man, Tom Hanks, as an adult.
Yeah.
Like, you view him as a child in an adult body, that whole movie. And that's, as a, like, an acting thing, that's a really, like, impressive thing.
Now, do you think... This is an interesting territory, because do you think that acting is... I'm going to say it again, and it makes me laugh to be like, and we'll get into introductions again.
Sure.
But do you think that acting...
Nobody has any idea who I am.
They're learning.
That's fine.
They're learning who you are. Do you think that, like, acting is always something that's like this skill, expression, versus something that's just, like, inherent to the things you're born with? Like, Tom Hanks, for instance, has a boyish charm that not everybody will have.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you couldn't cast the fucking Willem Dafoe in the same parts you cast Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
But you also would be like, oh, how do you grade that in the scale of acting?
Yeah.
Is like Tom Hanks' performance so great in that because he's able to do that, or is it because it's so great that he has this boyish charm?
Mm-hmm.
And then is that just what acting is? The right actor in the right place, the right role at the right time.
Sure. I think that's a good point that you make. I think a lot of there are, I don't think there is a single actor in the world that can play every role.
Yeah.
There are specific roles that are going to be, that certain actors are going to be better at playing. Different actors have different skill sets. Like, Willem Dafoe is not going to be Tom Hanks in Big. Like, he's never going to play that role.
Exactly.
But he is, on his own, an incredible actor.
Yeah.
And the roles that Willem Dafoe is, like, cast in are, like, he's amazing in because he's great for those roles.
And they wouldn't be necessarily the best roles for Tom Hanks.
But then I will say that there are certain things. So, Willem Dafoe was in a movie called The Florida Project. That I want to say he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for. That Tom Hanks, like, if he was willing to take a, like, movie in or a role in a much lower budget movie, like, could have been good in. It was, for Willem Dafoe, it was kind of, I would say, like, a somewhat against type part. It was called The Florida Project.
I don't.
And it was written and directed by the guy who just did Honora, which won Best Picture last year. Which he then won all of those Oscars for writing, directing, editing. Sure. So yeah. Do we want to get to introductions?
The last question.
Okay.
What was that movie that used to be on Netflix that had Willem Dafoe in it, where he had full penetration against the lady against
I love this game. Antichrist.
Antichrist?
Yeah, directed by Lars von Trier.
That was a Lars von Trier movie?
Yes. Are you surprised?
It's so funny because I had a teacher when I was at school that was big on Lars von Trier. And I've gone so long thinking I've actually never seen... Because I have a lot of movies that I've never seen. A lot of categories of movies. Sure. I have a lot of glaring omissions, as you
for the record, I've seen more movies than
absolutely.
Bob. But Bob has more of a actual structured education on film than I do.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Well, that's a fact. I mean, I'm barely college educated. And you have a full-on film degree.
Oh, well, thank you.
So that's a given.
Well, we both, I guess now, let's, but yeah. Let's.
That's the movie. If that was your last pressing question,
that. Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
answer.
The last of those. But so now I'm surprised that I actually did see a Lars von Trier movie without knowing. But so now we'll get into.
Did we watch that together?
Yeah, we watched it.
Okay.
We used to do it on the Xbox Live thing.
I remember.
I think it was one of those.
We could talk about that later because that's a deep part of our history.
Right. What a deep cut. All right. Let's get into the personal background first. First, we'll start with. And it's funny, I said this with Ryan too. You and I know each other very well.
Yes.
So it's a little different than like interviews that like most people might be used to, where it's like one stranger with an interviewing profile interview.
We have been friends for, at this point, over half of our life.
More of our life than not.
Yeah.
Because freshman year.
That's what 13. Over half means.
Oh, true. That's true. I missed that you said over half. I just heard half and locked in. But yeah, no, that is funny to think about, you know?
Yes.
It's wild.
Yeah. I think I was 14 when we met. Because it was...
When's your birthday?
January...
Please don't dox my friend.
Well, I mean, they can't do anything with my birthday, right? Except for send me gifts.
It's like a combination of name and birthday. I don't know.
My birthday is in January, in 95.
So I am older than you.
Yeah, we've always known that.
But so you were probably 13? And I was 14?
Yes.
We were both probably 13.
Yeah, no,
I was sooner to
you're
turn
right,
14
because it
than
was
you.
2009.
That's humble beginnings. Freshman year.
Yeah.
And funny enough, just for backstory on our lives, we went to a high school that had like 1,000 freshmen. And then
was it that much?
It really was.
It was a big school.
Well, no, just the freshman class was like this population boom, and then they had to split that.
That's why they split us up.
3 other schools.
They said you guys can't all be friends anymore.
They had to chop us up like the fucking rings in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And they were like, and we sent X many to Tuscarora and X many to Linganore and whatever. Oakdale, all the places.
Another part of my lore is that I don't really like Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Have we never talked about that?
I'm gonna say this right now,
dude. That's like my weird thing.
Are you ready for
this?
this?
I love all. I don't really.
We're gonna delay introductions now for
okay.
a second. Let me give you an assertion. This is something I've been thinking lately. If aliens are so far beyond us that we can't really even comprehend the technological difference, the only thing of measure that we're going to have produced for them is art. Like if they just destroy our systems or dominate our systems, they take us over, and then they start grading it. I have a theory that the greatest thing humanity in its totality contributed all together was the original Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I knew where you were going with that. Couple points. First of all, aliens don't give a shit about our art. Full stop. they are not interested. Second of all,
I'm fucking I might be misguided, but I'm reading this book right now, and it involves.
Love your Arthur C. Clarke.
I do, and it's they talk about like the aliens liking our art.
Second of all,
stuff like that.
I think even if they could get the DVD player to work in the first place to like get it running, I think that they get like 10-15 minutes in,
Lord of the Rings is
and
so
good.
Just
like they're literally just sitting there like, what the fuck this shit. Okay, I will fully say this because I know that I'm the minority. I fully recognize that like I get why Lord of the Rings is as beloved as it is. I think that as a from a cinematic standpoint, it's a marvel. But to me,
from an objective film critique standpoint, it is exemplary.
So for me, it falls in
cut above almost everything that came out for the next 15 years.
Absolutely. For me, it falls into the category of Blade Runner, 2001: A Space Odyssey, where I look at it and I go, I totally get it. I totally get why it was so iconic and influential.
I'm seeing your perspective a little.
For me, don't care. When it comes to the elves, the hobbits, the dwarves, the orcs, the blah blah blah, I don't give a shit.
Now let me ask you.
I don't give a shit.
When's the last time you watched Fellowship of the Ring?
Brother? So this is what I'm so surprised that we haven't had this conversation.
It's just been a while. We probably have at some point.
I have people I have this conversation so much where people are like, you haven't given it a chance. I've watched those movies so many goddamn times because I have so many friends who love them. My current roommate, his nickname among like all of his friends is Bilbo.
Okay.
We not even just with him, just like in general, like I watch Lord of the Rings with my friends. Like when this is outside lore, but our friend Mike, When I was living with Mike, we binge watched the series. I've watched this in my lifetime.
When you say series, you mean
the trilogy, yes. Okay. And I'm talking extended editions, right? Not even just the...
Okay, go on.
So I have probably seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy in my life at least 4 or 5 times.
When would you say the last time was?
Within the last year.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Because you love Game of Thrones.
Yes,
but
I do.
Let me complete. Do you think that it's something inherent to the difference in the modernity of storytelling where one is more character, plot, confrontation, conflict.
That's 100% it.
Versus ethereal grand concepts.
That's 100% it.
Okay. Do you think that they're like somewhat equivalent in the sense that like the immersion that Lord of the Rings gives you, while maybe more caricaturized compared to something like Game of Thrones, is in that same strata of immersion? Especially for the peak.
Oh, yeah.
I view
absolutely.
I view Lord of the Rings 1, 2, 3, Game of Thrones first 4 seasons
for sure
equivalent.
And
like those are like on that level.
As far as like world building aspect, like all that stuff, like I commend Lord of the Rings for what it is.
Yeah.
Like
it just doesn't scratch the itch.
Exactly. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Let me offer you this before the final dismissal. If this is closing the chapter of the Lord of the Rings chapter in your life, it is a movie that, in all facets, lacks irony. It is a sincere portrayal of fraternal friendship, of male friendship and bondness through adversity, the struggles to maintain a culture, all of those things presented in a very fantastical way, And so I just wonder, if over time those facets of it might appreciate in your mind than something that might have better plot dynamicism, but less to really sink one's teeth into as a raw human. Looking at saying like good versus evil, boiled down to these facets, because it's that fantastical element. But I appreciate that you acknowledge it in its strata of being like there with like the Star Wars, the Game of Thrones, the peak series of fiction.
Sure, it's definitely like it deserves to be up there with all that.
It's so
it's gay. Like
it's just
gay.
So gay.
It's. Would you admit that it's a little gay?
It's funny the way you say it like that, because I used to use that because I understand exactly the way you mean that. That's the way I used to describe Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Because it's an aesthetic,
and which I love.
I
do. That's a comfort show.
It's an aesthetic for a show that's serious. It's about like police work.
Yeah,
but it's all goofy, so it's kind of gay. In like a happy way, almost like you're invoking like the happy sense of gay, but it's like the Lord of the Rings is maybe like the gay version of Game of Thrones because there's less of this sense of like nihilism, where it's like we don't have that inflict of how they communicate like somewhat modern people in terms of like classism and all
that.
Of those
that
things.
Is why I always preferred Game of Thrones, I should say, is because Game of Thrones to me, like it had that similar world. It wasn't as fantasy focused, like still like same kind of setting, but it just felt a lot more grounded. And when you character driven was like, to me, like character is like I am much more interested when it comes to storytelling. I'm much more interested in character than I am in plot. Yeah. Plot is obviously it's great, but like if you have good plot and bad character, I'm much less interested than if you have good character and not as interesting.
This is a distinction I feel like a lot of people are drawing to in the media sphere, is this character versus plot one, where I struggle to see the character as very separate to the plot. I view the facets with which you give to the character.
They can definitely be
like inherent to the plot. In
a sense. Yeah, I feel like for the most part, yes.
Yeah. Because when I look at like Game of Thrones, I look at versus Lord of the Rings. To me, I see like the difference in like the narrative approach as being like a commentary on divisions in class more so than divisions in like nationalism, which I think was J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm not, and I can't claim to be like an expert on these things. There are people who are fucking super experts on like English and stuff like that. But like I just view the narratives and the themes of like Lord of the Rings as being more centered on like nationalistic perspectives, like these insular populations, the elves, the humans, the orcs, all of these stratas of people, whereas Game of Thrones is like about class, the classism versus like it's about that in like King's Landing. There's all of those classes and like where like some of the bastards are versus the middle class of people, and then like the ruling class, and not to say that there isn't those hierarchical systems in Lord of the Rings as well. No, but just that it's less about
different types of focuses.
It's more of like a straight invocation of good versus evil as presented of like, okay, here's a group of civilized people versus a horrible outside world, which is I do know that to an extent that J.R.R. Tolkien was making those allegorical things, that is like deliberate, that there's like this is like a good part of the world because these are people that come together and do good things, and then there's like the orcs, which are like obviously bad, they're the followers of Saruman, slaves or servants or whatever or not. And then Game of Thrones is more about just like these individual acts of human agency all colliding, and all of these acts of like this like political collision. Right, more of like the Machiavellian, like how all these characters interplay the dynamics of, these expectations.
Yeah. I was gonna, not to sidetrack, but was J.R.R. Tolkien the guy who
I think it's
they
Tolkien. And Tolkien is the character in South Park.
Hey, I just call him Junior. Was he the guy that James Bond was based off of, or was that Roald Dahl?
I do not know at all.
You never heard about that?
No, I've never heard about any of this.
Ian Fleming, right? Wasn't it Ian Fleming?
I think that sounds right.
Or was it Christopher Lee?
Christopher Lee,
because he's an interesting guy.
Knew or actually met J.R.R. Tolkien.
Have we introduced me? Does anybody even know who the fuck I am?
This is the whole point, though. We are going to get there. This is what I was saying earlier. When I was saying each point ends up taking so fucking long that it's like it justifies this end up being a long thing without having to have too much planning. I love it.
Yeah.
But no, I think Christopher Lee was like the only person on the cast to have actually met J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yes. He was also the one who was like, this isn't what a person sounds like when they die. This is what a person sounds like when they die.
He's like, and so I asked, who's the director?
Peter Jackson.
And so I asked Peter, have you ever heard the sound a man makes when he is stabbed? It doesn't make a noise because the air is being driven out of your body. He was like... Yeah, no.
What a fucked up... How many lives...
Apparently
how many lives do you think have ended by that actor's hands?
By Christopher Lee's hands?
Yeah. Count Dooku. Sounds a lot like Dookie.
Are we including fictional bodies?
No. I'm talking real, how many bodies? Actual lives... Like, real-world lives.
All I would feel confident to say is at least one. Because he behaves in the mannerisms that one would say.
He was a soldier, right? He was like a World War I soldier.
I love the idea of diving into those kind of things.
I don't want to. I feel like it's disrespect. He's dead. We shouldn't.
Is Christopher Lee dead?
Bro, the guy was like 112 years old.
It's wild, like factoring the merit of a man in like service and stuff like that. Before we rotate back, let me just touch on that real quick. Do you view military service, let's say, just in a vacuum, like volunteering for a nation's military, devoid of the intention of that country's government?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find an inherent virtuism to that? And then just to expand on that before I let it go to your hands, if somebody goes through adversity in those wars, do you see that like as an inherent broadening of that person's ability to convey perspectives about the human nature?
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely agree to both points for the most part. I would say that the average person who at least is like enlisting in military service is doing so for the right reasons. Like nobody, I don't feel like they're doing it to like be like an occupier or like anything like that. I feel like they're doing it to be like in service of their country.
I love the way you said that because I feel like that tends to be my prevailing politics on things. Like I think with the minds, I try to think with the mindset that the things people are doing or saying are reflective of their intention to do something good. Like like just what you said. You wouldn't think somebody joined the military or the reserves or something like that out of a desire to do bad.
Right. But I think some people have.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's the case in like
exactly. And I'm not going to lie to you. That makes just the idea of that is a very compelling narrative, and I'd watch the movie or show about that. You know, about somebody.
I think they've made them.
Who was like a serial killer who tried to infiltrate the military, and then like their ranks are actively like scrutinizing this guy's behavior. Like he's just taking these opportunities to do this thing. He's sick. We have to do something about this because nobody else is. He's taking just these opportunities. You know how many times he's been wrong? There's no coincidences there.
Don't give away our best ideas on camera.
Could you see that being a movie?
I definitely could.
Or a show?
I definitely could.
Well, it's funny because in the build up to this, I almost wanted to write down on one of the slips for like the
Oh, do we? When do we want to do the slips?
It doesn't matter. The slips happen just randomly. Okay. When I can't think of something, I'm gonna bring up a slip.
Well, that'll never happen.
Something between us. That's the lovely thing about friends. But the thing about that is, I was thinking about having an idea section where you and I tried to think of an idea out, and that actually would be a good one. Why not start there? You know. So you think that would be a decent concept? Because this is my philosophy on movies and shows. It's a balance of plot versus aesthetic. And so there you have a military aesthetic, a Dexter, traitor, snake in the grass aesthetic, and then you have the plot, which is this guy who has this goal to go overseas and do this fucked up stuff. You know, and that's the kind of thing that would get made if we're looking at what they want to propagandize.
So I think if we're gonna go
pull this thread. Pull this thread.
I think
because I wanted to make you do this with me on some idea. We have one here. It's manifested in real time. I thought this could happen.
Here's how I would think about it. You know that new movie that just came out, Him?
No.
So they've been...
Oh, no. The football movie. Yeah.
So I could see it if you did something kind of like that, but military. So it's a horror movie, right? And it's about this guy who like enlists...
Isn't the Him presentation so heavy-handed?
It is. So not like you're not doing it exactly.
Don't we want that rogue agent?
I'm just saying more like
under the radar?
I think a horror though, rather than a thriller, because we've seen military thrillers, but we've never really seen too many
a military thriller where it's about like an inside psycho.
We've seen plenty of movies about crazy people in the military. Yeah, how many horror?
But like a serial killer expressing themselves. Because when I think horror,
sure, but isn't that military, also kind of not exactly, but kind of Rambo?
No, it's like in the inverse of Rambo.
Yes, it's an inverse Rambo.
Yeah, a Rambo going Rambo on his own people. Yeah, no. I'm even thinking of like a Rambo. Like okay. Imagine American Sniper But Chris Kyle, please, God, do not judge me for invoking actual people's names in historical situations and making
too late
fiction concepts.
Go ahead.
But like, imagine American Sniper, but the main character instead, like, in the scenes, just picking off random kids. Like, when they're talking about kids, like, he's just like, bang.
Is it set?
And somebody sees that and they're like, "What the fuck? This is an oversimplification."
Is it
show
set
don't tell
in New Orleans during Katrina?
That's so funny you bring that up, because I feel like the algorithm works in mysterious ways that bring it up, independent of where you are. It shines that, regardless of whether you're like this side or that side or whatever. It ends up bringing up into your algorithm that, because I saw some of that discourse happening fairly recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just remember that coming out like when American Sniper was
You didn't see that recently?
Out.
Oh, that was... Okay, American Sniper triggered that thought?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking... Because they've been talking about that recently.
Like, about Chris Kyle, right? What he said?
What did he say about it? About New Orleans?
Oh, I thought we were talking about... this might be too heavy to...
About Hurricane Katrina?
So, Chris Kyle used to tell a story about how, like, during Hurricane Katrina, he was like, oh, yeah, I, like, got up there on a rooftop and with my rifle and just started, like, picking off looters in the store.
Yeah, no.
And it was like... But it's like, whether the story was like true or not, it was kind of just like a wild thing to like admit to.
Oh, absolutely. No, there's a lot of that. Like, apparently, during Hurricane Katrina, for anybody who hasn't gone down this rabbit hole, it was like literally fucking anarchy. And there was mass looting, mass opportunist murder.
Committed by Chris Kyle, it sounds
apparently like. But I would imagine just at all times opportunist expressions of insane crime, because people get whipped up into a frenzy. These are the things we have to understand about like human behavior.
Sure.
Is all throughout history we can look at times that people were whipped up into a frenzy, and like what happened at what do they call the stadium down there? Is it the Superdome?
Yes.
Like what happened there? Like there were...
I don't even know about that.
Because people...
Outside of the South Park episode.
Well, like hundreds of people were being held there. Or not like held, but like... what would you even say for people who are, they're looking for shelter.
Housed?
Using it for shelter.
Yeah.
And apparently there were like rapes going on. It was another instance of lawlessness. Like you're in like a house of hell. Like you have to fight for your own. Like imagine if a cruise ship lost power, You would have to be like, okay, me and my friends, the people that are here now, we're fighting for our own. We can't die if we're out at sea for 5 fucking months or whatever with no power. Like, you have to start thinking rationally.
I knew, not knew, like, super personally, but casually kind of knew a girl who was on one of the cruise ships that during COVID,
it was like the
main one that got
great example
stuck out at sea, and she was actually one of like the people who got big on TikTok documenting the whole thing. Like I'm pretty sure she got on like the Today Show or Good Morning America or like one of those. Like
that's wild.
Yeah.
What was do you know the cliff notes of her experience? Did she have a rough time?
It wasn't.
Was she okay?
It was. Oh yeah, no, she's fine. It was basically it was more an annoyance than anything. Right. But it was basically she was a. This is this is information that's 3 or 4 or 5 years old at this point,
of course,
from what I can remember. So from what I can recall, she was like a performer on one of those ships, and they got when COVID went down, they got stuck out at water. And she basically, for the most part, was like held up in her room for the most part, for like, you know, a good
Was she
like
with people?
a good like 3 or 4 months.
Was she with people?
Not
Sorry,
like in her room, but like on the ship. Like I again, like I don't know exactly.
Okay, listen to me on this perspective. Imagine the most dramatized situation of that, where now it's like we're running out of food, famine conditions.
Yeah.
This is an interesting allegory, I feel like, or situation to use as like an analysis on like democracy, right? Because say it's, or like a zombie apocalypse, right? So say you have this horribly adverse situation where you have people fighting for resources, and you have 10 people. You're one of the 10, right?
Yeah.
And the fucking 3 of them are Jean-Claude Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone.
I'm dead. I kill myself.
But no, this is your group. This is your group, and this is your prime. And then the other 7 or 6 people, because including you, but then the other 6 people are like far, far less capable people.
Yeah.
You know, whose opinion matters the most in that situation? You know,
bro, I'm dead. I'm killing myself. It
Come
doesn't.
on.
Mine doesn't.
You're fighting for your life here. You're fighting to get home to be on the 2nd episode of this show. Okay, you're out at sea. You're now on this cruise ship for 6 months fighting for resources, and you have Jean-Claude and Sly Stallone, and who was the third person I messaged? Arnold Schwarzenegger. You have those guys, and they're in your group. They're not fighting you. They're in your group trying to help. You're gonna be like those guys. It's funny because this idea that democracy is inherently the idea.
I don't see.
Because what if the 6?
Why do their voices matter more?
Because they're the Terminator and Predator, and you know they're going to be the people
in film
that are. But let's say they're actually those people. Let's say they're actually those people. They're the characterized. This is a caricaturized situation. I'm saying just in terms of competency, you have like the 3 most capable people you could ever think of. You know. Don't you feel like more comfortable placing the leadership and the decision-making process in the hands of that select group of people than to say into the entirety of the group? But then, of course, this invokes the potential for that person to have flawed decision-making.
Sure.
But catering for if this is like an idealistic person, like a movie character. Do you see the kind of allegory I'm making here? Because in a sense, like George Washington was like a movie character. And that's why disproportionate power ultimately was given to that person by the collective of people around them. Well, because ultimately our system isn't a democracy. You know, I don't know why I'm exactly making this point right now. But I feel like it was just a unique spot to talk about like democracy.
Yeah.
And this, because I feel like when people hear that, it's like almost synonymous with good. Not to say that it's not good, but it's relative. It's relative to the scale of like the distribution of capability amongst people. If everybody was George Washington, then a system of direct democracy would obviously be the best. You know, a system of highly capable, informed people. Not to say exact ideological synchronization with one person.
If everybody was George Washington,
right,
we'd all be vegetarians because we wouldn't have.
Was he a vegetarian?
But I was just saying we wouldn't have real teeth to like chew beef with.
Dude, even if I had fucking no teeth, I would be slurping beef smoothies, man. I would be blending that
Was that
beef.
appetizing?
I would be blending that beef. Oh my god. Dude, seriously, red meat. There's this tick called...
I know about it.
Yeah, it gives you a disease called alpha-gal.
Makes you allergic to meat.
Gives you an intolerance to red meat. I don't go outside anymore. I would kill myself, bro. I would fucking kill myself if I couldn't eat steaks or burgers or fucking any of that. Oh my god, I'd lose my mind.
I feel that for sure.
Yeah, seriously. I'd probably eat 3 pounds of ground beef a week. I would lose my fucking mind. Yeah.
Alright, time out. I gotta pee.
Alright. Alright. So, we just broke for about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds.
Yeah, it was about a solid. We took a hard 5, I would say.
Was it 5 minutes?
It was hard a 5.
All right, we're back from a 5-minute diversion of a conversation. But that's the nature of having conversations with people that you're friends with, people that you love, and getting into that. Let's get into you. We've gone all of this time without getting into introductions. This is the first thing I like to, with these interviews, I've decided the first thing I want to ask people.
This is the first thing? This is definitely not the first thing that you asked me.
We've basically been talking, you and I, together for like 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
But
at least.
Tell the people about yourself in as few of words as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Off to a bad start.
No, you're good. You're good. The word economy of like excess words, it counts as nothing.
Sure. Okay. My name is Alex. Alexander Michael Prete, to be fully specific. In terms of who I am for what matters, I've been one of your good friends for over half of my life, I've done some acting, I've done some stand-up. That's really how me and Bob connected. I don't know if I should. Do you like go by Robert? Do people call you Robert?
In professional capacities, I've introduced myself as Robert. I haven't even like given like a name section to the idea of the channel.
Can I call you Rob?
You should just call me Bobby or Bob.
I'm gonna call you Rob.
I feel like you're in that group of people that calls me Bob, which is
I call you Bob now. You for a very long time were Bobby.
Yeah.
And you are still in my phone today as the Bobby Miller.
That's how
because that's how you introduced yourself to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, no, I haven't really taken time to really even give myself an introduction to the channel in terms of people telling people.
Yeah, have you ever introduced you? Does anybody watching know who you are?
No, I just offer takes. Some people that watch maybe, but yeah, I'm Robert, or Bobby, or Bob.
You guys call him Robert.
Yeah, Robert,
I call him Bob.
Robert with medium. Robert Miller.
And to be clear, you are not a psychic.
And I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium.
And you are not the medium. Medium is just the channel. You are not the medium.
Exactly. It's like a show, and I'm like the host of medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the excuse to be able to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Politics, sports, news, shows, movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're all medium.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes sense. It's like, what's that one show? Hardball with Chris.
Oh, they're all medium.
What's Chris, is it Matthews? Hardball?
I'm not sure.
But he's not Hardball. Hardball's just the name of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a similar thing to like what you do here with medium. Like, you're not medium. That's just the name of the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because I used to think that was an important distinction. And then I went away from thinking, does that matter at all?
Uh-huh.
You know, how do I even, whatever. But I'm like, oh, medium. It's more like it's a show. I literally used to, because I used to talk about, with the person who I was last interviewing, Pentagon, Ryan Francis, everybody should go check that out, by the way, great interview.
I know Ryan. He's a funny guy.
He's a hell of a guy.
I've met that guy. He's given me a lot of laughs.
He's a good man. But
smart too. Very smart.
I used to tell him, I would be like, yeah, it's not like I'm medium. It's like the show's medium. And I used to run it 24/7, and we would do like Adult Swim style programming at nights. So it was like medium, and then multiple screens.
So you're like Tim and Eric?
No, it was like more like Baki and Lucky Star and like whatever I could get.
And then I was asleep by the time they put on those shows.
They were good. But yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think this is like a good way for us to both introduce ourselves in terms that we both grew up in the sense of we had good households with lovely parents. I love your parents.
I love your parents.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know, let's just get that out there. The greatest privilege in life is to have a family with which you can say, I love you. Absolutely, unquestionably. Yeah. Right? Is there anything better than that?
No, I mean, nothing that I'm going to say on camera, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's really what life is all about. And we had good families, you know, not to say all people are perfect or anybody's perfect, but good families, and we're happy for that. And you and I weather through an abundance of what's the word? Through an abundance of time to spend pondering on the world, ended up going down the direction of acting.
Mm-hmm.
And the inhabitation of an artifice of entertainment to others at an early age.
Yeah.
So in the sense of introducing yourself, and myself introducing myself, since we forayed into that, let's glean perspectives off of navigating adolescence as a class clown. First, give me your build-up. Give me your elementary school years, before, whatever you can remember. And how that became the middle school, and then you and go on.
Sure. I will say a formative memory for me was kindergarten. I remember getting in front of a group of the other students, and I remember just thinking, I was like, oh, I'll get everybody together, I'll do a little, I don't know how I came up with it, but I was like, I'll do a little joke. So I brought everybody around, and I said, I'm going to tell you all the shortest story in the world. The end. And we're 4 or 5 at the time, very young children, and it got naturally it's a hilarious joke. It got a good reaction from the kids, and I remember in that moment thinking, wow, I really like this. I really like making people laugh. And that always just kind of became a core thing that was ingrained with me from that point on. Throughout all of elementary, middle, high school, and on, I remember always, it being very important to me to make the people around me laugh, whether that was my family or my classmates. I was probably transitioning from either second to third grade, or I think it was second to third grade, and my parents were trying to find some way to occupy me during the summer, and I had never shown a great aptitude for sports. I was I tried baseball. I did t-ball from first to fifth grade, but never really took. I was always the kid in the kind of designated to the outfield, whichever of the outfields were that the ball never got hit to, kind of digging dandelions and such.
Same.
Sure.
Same. I've never fucking identified with something more spiritual.
Surprises me because you are the epitome of athleticism. If I've ever met.
Goodness! It's the athleticism I have is like a different type of athletic expression of intelligence. Like some people are athletic and like they hit the ball, catch the ball, fast twitch reflexes. Like I was good at wrestling. I have to be like physically touching somebody.
Yes.
And I took for granted I had like young kid retard strength. But whatever. Ignore that, folks. YouTube doesn't care.
Yeah.
All right. So we go on.
Anyway, I going into like the summer of second grade to third grade. My mom had asked me if I would be interested in doing a like a drama camp that summer. And I remember thinking at the time, I will always credit this to being the reason that I like started my acting journey. The very first thought that I had when she asked me that was I thought I was like, acting like Jim Carrey in The Grinch. Yeah, I want to be an actor.
Nice.
And so I agreed to do the summer camp, and we did the little audition for the play, and I got cast as the lead in the first play that I ever did. And I just kind of first I kept up with doing just kind of summer camps. And, I just kind of kept getting, good roles in these shows that I was doing. So that gave me the confidence to go audition for some, community theater shows, which I got, some, little roles in that. And then that sort of led to this path of me continuing to do different drama camps and theater in schools, community theater shows, and some very light work outside of that.
Was the drama camp they sent you to the first one stage door?
No. So I had originally gone to the the very first camp that I did. Was actually it took place at Windsor Knolls.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was in third grade, and we put on a show on the little they had a cafetorium. It was half cafeteria auditorium. Where I actually did a couple, because I went there for middle school, so I actually did a couple shows there when I was in middle school. But that was so I had done. A couple just local things that they had around. One at one of the local community theaters that we have around here that I did a show at. And then,
how old were you in your first community theater performance?
It was fourth grade.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I feel like that's one of our differentiating points, because I didn't really get into acting until middle school, the sixth grade productions, and before that it was foreign. So it's almost like how in wrestling, it's if somebody started in youth leagues, this big leg up, you were ready.
And even
you were ready
still,
to go when you had middle school, high school.
When the second community theater show that I did when I was in fifth grade, it was a Christmas Story, and the kid who played Ralphie, the main kid, he at the time he was 1 or 2 years older than me. And he was to me, he was a legend, because he had been doing it for he had started 2 years before I did. So by that point, he was a pro.
Bro, how many times have you been in Christmas Story?
Twice. Yeah, I did that show twice. I played Scott Farkas originally, and then I played whichever was the one of the two friends that did not get his tongue stuck to the pole.
Luckily.
I was the one who instigated that.
Oh, well.
So I was a bully both times.
I was going to say, I hope you feel bad about it. In relation to the Jim Carrey point, So you had that after that aha moment of enjoying making the other kids laugh, and you thought, oh, I want to kind of chase this.
Yeah.
Did you consciously make that connection? Like, that thing that I like doing is like that thing that like Jim Carrey likes doing?
I think that I subconsciously probably resonated with the fact that Jim Carrey made people laugh.
Yeah.
And that he made me laugh.
So was it
lot.
like, was it like a sense of respect for Jim Carrey, like of I try to make people laugh, and I see Jim Carrey, he's like the guy.
Probably, in a sense.
Because but
in my like second grade brain,
I feel like as a class clown, this is a very unique subject, because think about how many class clowns there might be in a class of students. You might be talking about 10 to 15 kids out of
But how many
300.
are worth their salt?
Exactly. Dude, that's the exact thing I was going to say, because the class clowns know it's a hierarchical system.
Yeah.
Some people offer their voice, but they're not funny.
That is true. Right? I actually, I was, I don't know, can we say names on this?
Just say first names, and I'll probably glean it.
Can we bleep? Can you bleep?
Yeah, I'll bleep it.
Okay.
I'll bleep it.
Rabi?
I don't remember.
Rabi Ahmad?
No, I don't remember at all.
Anyway, okay. So we'll just bleep that. Anyway, so this kid, when I was in 8th grade, the first time we did superlatives was, the 8th grade, leaving middle school. We had some superlative votes for the yearbook.
Middle school superlatives.
Not as, but there's that social hierarchy.
They count.
So anyway,
dude, it's so funny. Okay, let me qualify.
Okay.
Both of us, middle school superlative, right? High school superlative, right? Okay, it's not like that means a lot, but there's a reason why we're talking about movies and shit and all these deeper things about these concepts years later. We were those people that whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And why we're qualified to talk about class clown things. What was the middle school superlative?
So, this other kid, after all of the voting they did kind of an interesting thing with our 8th grade superlatives, where this might be normal. I don't know. I don't know too much about like middle school politics.
I think a lot of middle schools have gotten rid of it, and I think a lot of
probably
high schools
it would be better. It would be better if they did, because it's not good to pit the
designations of this. Yeah.
So we had
for conversation.
It was the first half of the year when everything was kind of voted on. And one of the reasons why it's funny is they had, one of the superlatives was best friends.
Yeah.
And they had the two girls that won in the first half of the year hated each other by the time the yearbook came out. So anyway, the kid who had won class clown in the first half of the year, I will say that I was I had always, tried to I was always trying to be class clown. And that was always just kind of my thing, I was always just making jokes, doing whatever. But in my circle of friends, people were very receptive to the jokes that I was making. But I would say that it wasn't really until the second half of 8th grade that it really became everybody really became receptive to my jokes. So anyway, not that I still think about, what happened in middle school at all. But anyway, there was this kid who had won the 8th grade superlative for class clown. We had
wait, which was the one you won?
I didn't win anything.
You didn't win anything?
No, because because I wasn't popular.
Okay, so this was...
I'm sorry, I hit the...
It's okay. Well, so I have to retract that you were a middle school superlative winner first for the approval.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But
as far as credentials go, I have not won a middle school superlative.
But he lost to political bullshit.
So, but here's
because that's the nature of class clownism.
Here's the amendum. So, me and this other kid had English class together, and that's really where, you know, the field was for humor. Right. That's where the class clown-isms came out. That's really where my time to shine was.
The class clown disproportionately wields the language as a tool against others. So English, I'm just giving context for the people at home. English is a ripe subject.
I'm gonna wrap this up because this is nobody cares about this.
Dude, actually, I love this.
So long story short, we get to there's one day of class where, and this makes the story even lamer, I don't even know what I said, but it was hilarious because I killed shit in English. I was always on fire. And this other kid who had won the superlative literally stood up from his desk and said, "Alex, I officially give the title of class clown to you." So while I may not have won, I was bequeathed the title of 8th grade class clown.
What a self-aware.
Even though in the yearbook it does not
for that kid to do.
It does not go down in the written history, but those who were there in that Miss
classroom.
What's her name's? I know her name, but I'm not going to say it on camera.
Or
but
Mrs.
Miss, we'll say Miss. She was divorced.
That's
Miss
sad.
E. We'll say Miss E's class.
I hope she's doing okay.
I don't know. that's a whole nother
that's
conversation.
That's nice that he was that aware, and you guys had that healthy rapport.
No, this kid was funny, to his credit.
Yeah,
he was
isn't it
very funny.
Isn't it funny?
He was very funny.
You kind of recognize at some point who is funny. You start participating. If you in middle school, because I love the introduction you gave there, where you said you started, especially even earlier, where you mentioned you started liking to make kids laugh. Oh, let me get to that before
that is honestly a core memory.
Was there one moment connected to that, but with family, before we abandon that point?
Oh God.
I assume there was, right?
Yeah.
There's gotta be.
It's literally
Give it
so
to me.
embarrassing.
Because I know the same is true for me.
It's so embarrassing.
Let's hear it.
So I used to, probably even earlier than that minute. Honestly, it may have been after, because I remember doing it at my... So for context, I lived in one house, my first house, until I was about 4 years old. And then my second house from 4 on.
Really?
But they were they were 5 minutes apart.
That's the one I know.
Yeah,
wow.
But they were 5 minutes apart. Yeah.
Wow.
So I remember doing this up to the second house. So I had to do this from 4 years old on. But I used to do a thing where I would strip naked.
Jesus.
when we were having family gatherings.
Classic little kid shit.
And
understanding him the human condition.
Right. Shit. So I would just walk into the room buck naked, and I would go
absurdist humor.
Exactly. And I would go, "I'm a caveman. I'm a caveman." And everybody would fucking crack up. And that was that. Yeah. I remember that was such a great feeling, making those people laugh.
Yeah. Yes, and I love that. It's so pure, and it's a thing that I think about, that for the people that end up going down that route and really engaging in it in a lot of ways changes the mindset for good and for bad. Comedy as an entity, as an archon, isn't exactly good. It's not exactly bad. It can be used for both, And it's this funny thing where you had mentioned kids starting to think you were funny and you noticing it. It's like comedy's also this factor of your sphere of influence. People think the things you say are funny because they like you to an extent, and they're like, the expectation is that you'll say something funny. And so then they say something funny that's funny enough for them to confirm to them they're funny, and it's like, you know what I mean? That implication of seeing that on the ideal level at an earlier age, and then it feeds into acting. Because I remember having those experiences as well in middle school, and you'll start seeing in the classroom, it's like, okay, so this kid and this kid, they might make jokes. There might be only 2 or 3 other kids that are going to speak up in the middle of class and make jokes. And then if anybody else does, it's like cringe or weird. Nobody will say anything. Yeah. Unless it's so fucking funny. It has to be a home run.
Which occasionally, like, there was that kid who would always try, and it would always suck, but then they would hit that one fucking homer.
Yeah. And shit changes. Yeah. But having that sphere of influence enables you to take like multiple swings and really compete with another class clown.
Yeah.
But let me say real quick, I don't even know if it was a category. In middle school, I did win most dramatic. I didn't win class clown.
Technically. I will say, because it feels so fucking like, it feels so dumb to be like bringing up these fucking like superlatives and stuff. But it is
funny.
I will say, I was in 8th grade. I was because I had some friends who were like on the yearbook team. In 8th grade, I was runner-up. I was 2nd place in both class clown and in I think they called it like most likely to go to Hollywood.
Dude, that's fucked up. And was it like all write-ins?
Well, it was so.
Were you nominated in 2 categories? Would they have let you win both?
It was all right. I mean, it was all just people writing.
It was all write-ins for the categories.
There was no like. It wasn't like a ballot.
That is fucked up. We had a ballot.
We did not.
Ballot.
No, we did not.
We cut it down to a ballot.
However,
and nobody could win 2.
I will say,
you guys needed more bureaucracy.
Senior year, which is obviously
all right. We're getting into high school superlatives. We're moving on.
I will say,
let's hear it.
I didn't win the Golden Globe, but I won the Oscar. If we're going in my world here,
what is this?
Most
likely to.
I got first for both class clown and star performer, and I had to choose which of the 2 that because I wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed to have both.
That's fucking
so I had
crazy.
And I was
had to nerf your boy.
I was like, well, this is literally this was my ego 18-year-old fucking brain at the time. I was like, well, obviously everybody like expected me to win star performer, so I'll take class clown because that's a much more like coveted award.
The distinction for class clowns everywhere is the high school superlative. It doesn't get better than that. I don't care if you become fucking Eddie Murphy in the red spandex. If you didn't win high school superlative class clown, you ain't shit.
I will point this out too. Because that I was somebody who, for the vast majority of my early life, I was very involved in the performing arts.
Yes.
And that I would say that for the past 5, 6, 7 years, I have not been like fully like in. I haven't really been involved.
The comeback is real, folks. You're watching the comeback.
So you right. So you So,
we've inspired him.
What I will say on that is that I'm pretty sure that I have more recently performed stand-up comedy rather than acted in a show. I think I'm pretty sure the last thing performance-wise that I did
does make some sense
was
because
an open mic.
Shows are so involved.
It takes so much longer.
You almost don't have time to do open mics if you're doing a show.
No, well, if you're doing a show, you don't really have time to do a lot.
Anything.
Yeah.
But so on that point, you went into the acting. We both acted in middle school, right? 6th grade play, 7th grade play, 8th grade play. Hotly contested superlative race. You were on the unfortunate losers.
I was not the incumbent. What's the word?
The favorite, I guess. You were the runner up. Yeah,
I was the loser.
You're making a concession speech here. It's been 30 years.
The people have been waiting. The people have been waiting.
Yeah, and you've admitted it. You've lost.
I did.
Ike beat Truman or whoever.
I won't invoke either one. Well, actually, no. I will. You can. I don't want to make you have to bleep. I don't want to make you have to edit this.
Yeah, like our 2-minute interruption.
But I will say that my who did win, most likely to go to Hollywood in 8th grade. He was also a friend of mine. And it was the most random pick. Like, it could not have been somebody more uninvolved in, like, the
your
theater
involvement
scene.
Split the vote, and your friends,
I think it did,
your friendship
honestly.
with him tangentially split the vote.
He looked in the picture for it, and I wish I had the yearbook with me. He looked almost like confused to be where he was.
While we are venting about these things, because that's what this is.
Yeah. We're talking about our losses,
getting
all of our
out.
Primary school.
Well, I won a superlative in middle school. Select few. I lost class presidency by 5 votes.
What was your slogan?
I can't remember the slogan, but
already that shows you didn't.
She didn't have one either.
Yeah, but she won.
But she was hot. And let me tell you this. I went table to table giving candy. Let me tell you this. So
you're trying to buy it.
I talked about a time capsule. Let me talk about this. I talked about a serenity garden for the teachers.
The teachers? Who the fuck cares about the teachers?
I'm trying to buy the votes of the teachers.
Of the teachers? The teachers don't vote.
The teachers inspire the youth!
Okay. I can see that this is a passionate subject for you.
I forgot it's fucking 1:30.
We're not supposed to say what time it is.
Yeah, it's sometime. It's not early. But so I understand though to lose something close like that you wanted real bad, in middle school. But then in high school,
I did. I wanted it.
The exact title of your superlative was
in high school, senior year.
The exact title of the superlative.
It was the classic. It was class clown.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Mine was most likely to make you laugh.
Oh, that's lame.
It's a little bit more methodical. Yeah, too wordy. Yeah, not in the spirit of a class.
That was like the middle school one that I also lost, which was most likely to go to Hollywood. Like, it's just like...
Yeah, it's just too much. It's like, what's the influx?
In high school, it was just star performer.
Yeah.
Star performer is concise.
But even, what is most likely to go to Hollywood?
Right. To be a drug addict on the streets.
Exactly. Most likely to be subjected by a Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein, some shit like that. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Well, that's lovely.
Most likely to visit Hollywood on vacation, right? Because that could be it, too.
Bang. And you were 8 for 8 or 9 for 9 on shows in high school. You did all the acting stuff there.
Weirdly, no, actually. There was one, My junior year, the spring musical was Once Upon a Mattress, which is just a very lame show that I don't like. And so I just randomly decided I want to try out for the tennis team.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
You remember this. And I went to, so there was supposed to be 2 days of tennis tryouts. I went to the first day. So you know, as I think I've alluded to on this, I'm not an athletic person by any means. I played baseball very poorly from 1st to 5th grade, and then pretty much nothing in between. I am tall, but so I'm not incredibly tall. So anyway,
if you were having like a grab something off the top shelf competition,
yes, I'd ace it.
Yeah,
nine times out of 10. So we get to the first tennis tryout. I have done 0 conditioning. I mean, I think the day before I ran on the treadmill.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not a sports person. Like, I don't know what the expectations are. So we get to the first day of tryouts, and even before we start, like, testing anything, we run suicides on the court. And so as soon as we're done that, I'm dead. Like, all my energy is depleted.
Yeah.
And so everything that we're fucking, I'm just like, it's the most pathetic showing. And so the second day of tryouts gets rained out.
Oh wow.
So this is hilarious. The coach, the tennis coach at this time, is my AP environmental science teacher. Ooh. And so he's this is exactly how I would describe this guy. Do you know who Ben Stein is? Bueller.
I was trying to find the imitation before I said the answer.
This guy is basically a Ben Stein.
Yeah.
Like, super dry, super slow, but very dry sense of humor. If you can catch the jokes, like, he'll make them, but they're slow but also quick at the same time. It's honestly, he's a smart guy, and so he's so we finish the first day of tennis tryouts. And the next day, and you know this for context, a terrible student, me. I don't study, I don't do homework, I don't barely do classwork. I was an awful student. Should not have been taken. I always needed to take whatever the best classes were. Like, I needed to take AP classes, even though I didn't do the work.
Yeah,
for
honors them. Or AP.
So right. So this guy comes around passing out the tests the day after the tennis tryouts. And funny enough, as he's passing out the tests, I'm sitting next to the guy who won the 8th grade superlative for most likely to go to Hollywood. And so he says to me, how you feeling about this test? And so I say to him, I don't know, I think I'm in pretty good shape. And this guy, teacher, as he's passing out the tests, he turns around and says to me, I don't know, Alex. I saw you at tennis tryouts yesterday, and I don't think I would say you were in good shape. And the next day, he cut me.
That's hilarious. That's fucking funny. I feel like it's interesting because the drive and instinct required to get really good at a sport is almost required in sports that break you down at some stage, or sports that feel like they have the intellectual inflict that is commensurate with that experience. Like, when I think of tennis players, like the best tennis players are generally ones, in terms of like our classmates and stuff, were ones who were also very good academically. Like they had that expectation. Whereas like other sports, I feel like you got that inherent drive to like get in better shape through the breaking down process, like football or wrestling.
I think in usual cases, yes, but I was in a weird case where my graduating class, actually the athletic kids actually valued academics more.
Yeah.
And we had very bad sports teams my senior year of high school.
It's just odd to kind of start thinking about the idea of like inhabiting the space where you're like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice my body for this momentary chance at accomplishing some fleeting thing. You know, which I did, but it's not like I did it at a super high level. I won counties in wrestling. That was like my big goals going into high school were, or I made at some point in freshman year, were to be class clown and to win counties. And so I hit those two. So I'm pretty content with that. But like when I really ponder it, I'm like the inflict of having that drive. It's like it adds like a motivation sense in life, you know? But it's odd that it's like you almost have to have this thing that you really like to have motivation. It's almost like motivation's a subset of a passion, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost like discipline is like something that requires enough passion in something where you're going to say, oh, I behave this way because I'm passionate about this thing. So I represent it in this discipline that ensures I can do this thing.
Yeah.
You know? It's interesting. Okay, before we get away from the class clown point, just mentally, what do you think that being a class clown going up through middle school and high school has done to your psyche later in life? Pros, cons? And then I have one question to relate it to. But just quickly.
I don't know, like necessarily, like if I could like really delve into exactly what it's done to my psyche. I can say that as not necessarily as a class clown, but as a like performer in general, because I think the ultimate thing is like between like whether it be the class clown or like the acting aspect of it, is that I've always enjoyed more or less a spotlight, like, or at least I've never shied away from it.
Do you feel a sense of like masking, where you feel like this performative aspect of putting on a face that you feel is most appropriate for how you believe you're supposed to be presented in that situation?
I would say that there was a period of my life probably where I did, but I think now, like I'm 30 years old now. I'm next at the beginning of next year. I'll be 31. I think at this point in my life, I've kind of developed a little bit more of my adult personality. You know, where I compartmentalize a little bit, where I have, you know, my more like just kind of like because you know I work I'll say it's not a 9 to 5, but I work a day job where, you know, I have to be professional and I have to put on a certain face.
Do you feel an internal struggle, or do you experience an external struggle with the people who either know you for the reputation that you have developed back then or inhabited in moments where they know you in private intimacy?
The way that my personality is, and I don't know if it's, I will say it's probably just because this is how I've been since I was 3 or 4 years old, is that even in my, like when I have my professional face on, if there is an opportunity to crack a joke, I will take it. Like I'm always finding, if there is an opportunity to make somebody laugh, I will take it.
Do you feel like the professional face that you put on for a work situation is a distinct face from the mentalities you inhabit when you're in like an acting situation? Or do you feel like that's kind of an extension in terms of the behavior? So when I say masking, like it's like those situations, do you feel like
Yeah.
you're more often intuiting the sense of who you should be by all of the totality of information and then informing it? Or do you think you're expressing it through a sense of like, oh, okay, these are the things that I know to do because XYZ?
I will say, I don't know if this is necessarily the answer to your question, but I will say that I'm in a sales position. I work for a distillery. I manage at a distillery, and pretty much my whole job is, selling the spirits that this distillery produces for the most part. And
do you want to plug them?
No, I don't have to.
Okay.
So a lot of like what I do is, I'm because I'm in a sales position, so I have to. We talking about masks. You have like the sales mask, but for me, I am more or less a lazy person. So the less work that I have to do, the better. So when I'm in a sales position, I might wear that sales mask, but that's still mostly just me and my personality.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, putting on, if I have to, like a little bit of like a whatever.
Have there ever been any moments where either in the history of class clowning or acting or just the sphere of influencing with conversing with other people where you felt like people were obligingly laughing at the things you were saying because of maybe their installed notion that you were the person who makes jokes?
No.
You never felt like
I'm hilarious, and nobody has ever laughed at anything that I've said that did not deserve it.
But for real. Have you ever felt that?
Sure, that of course. Like so when you're talking to the person who's, and I think you know this about me, I'm one of the easiest laughs that there is. You know that. I laugh at anything and everying. And this is an important point too.
I want to keep touch on that. So keep going.
Laughs, like laughs aren't always earnest, but whether or not they are, like, so I don't know if you're conscious of this or not, but I've had this since I was a kid, like living at home. It was a poster that I had up on my bedroom wall that now I have up in like my like living room at home. And it's so I as a kid being into comedy, one of the things that I was always very into was Mad Magazine. You know that. I still like collect like old like antique like Mad Magazines whenever I can find them. So I think his name is Don Adams. He's like one of the most like famous Mad Magazine cartoonists. And so I have this poster that I keep in my living room now. And it's a Don Adams drawing, and it's this like little like grandma, and she's like, it's her like mid slip on a banana peel, and it says on it, have you had a good laugh today? And that to me is like, I'm not like a yoga person, but if I had a mantra, like my mantra would be that, have you had a good laugh today? And that's something that I've always kind of like lived my life by, is like, even if the laughs are like genuine or not, like to me, like as long as people are laughing, that to me like implies happiness.
So for you, in the sense that you've seen those moments where people have laughed like obligingly at the things you said, whether they were jokes or not, you looked at it as like just an inherent expression of that instinct to participate in the just a human expression of laughter, and
whether or not it's genuine, like it's a at least a step in the right direction.
Has it ever caused you the complex of when you're disseminating information where you struggle to retain seriousness or authority with somebody?
Probably.
Have you ever you've experienced that feeling where it's like this person perceives me as non-serious because I make jokes?
It's probably happened, but not to the point where it's bothered me. Because I have a fucked up psyche in the sense where, to me, if you perceive me as funny, I value that more than you perceiving me in any other way.
I can't wait to talk about that other idea with you. It's so fucking good. I'm not going to spoil it right now to the stream, but I fucking this idea. I love this narrative. The reason I'm asking all of these things, one, because it's something that it really interests me. This caused like a psychological break for me in my senior year of the class clowning. I just had this freshman or sophomore kid that was just like laughing, and I just was like, "Are you laughing at me or at the thing I'm saying? Because I'm not even making a joke."
Yeah.
So, and if you're laughing at the thing I'm saying, what's wrong with you? And if you're laughing at why I'm saying what I'm saying because it's me, why?
Yeah.
And that like kind of broke the mold of me starting to analyze the inflict of this class clowning.
I probably should have had that at some point, but I never did.
Yeah.
And I've just rode the laughs.
Have you seen the recent headlines about Theo Vaughn?
What about?
Where he like had a show where he was telling people that he was like suicidal or something?
No.
Now, apparently, like, I haven't looked too much into it either, but I've long felt this because the topic of Theo Vaughn's mental health often comes up in like his podcast.
Really, because this is a good topic. This is literally just.
It's perfect because I need to pee too. We'll come back to. We're taking a 5-minute break and then we're back with more Theo Vaughn conversation. And we're back, but so I don't know if you had seen. I don't know how many people have seen, but you can look it up.
I already said I haven't.
Apparently it was for the filming of a Netflix special or something, but
I know Theo Vaughn has talked a lot about his like struggles, and he is a very like open person.
I feel like he's struggling with what I was getting at with those questions, which is this break in how to present yourself as a person who is both able to be funny, but is also a serious thinker. He wants to have that, but he's struggling with, if I think seriously, I'm attached to these things, but if I am just a joke, then people don't understand my intellectual depth. And so I have to figure out this way to tread water as I figure out my intellectual grounding. Like he called out this immigration thing, this like video of like, it was I don't know, Border Patrol or something posted, U.S. Border Patrol posted some meme footage that used his audio about illegal immigrants in like some meme context, and he was like, hey, I'm not cool with this, a lot of stuff. And then I see this video or hear about this video of him talking about, having those thoughts, and I think he's struggling with that space of being somebody who's seen to be funny obligingly and then has actual serious thoughts that they want to, flesh out.
Have you tried to get him on your show?
No, I have not. But I just think it's interesting. I think because I like Theo Vaughn. I'm not like a huge Theo Vaughn fan, and I think that he doesn't. I think that's
honestly, I feel like that is how probably most people would describe their relationship with Theo Vaughn.
Well, I think that he has a lot of people that are very big on his humor.
Yeah, and that's true. He's got a very loyal following.
It's like where people lobby their favor behind these comedians who are perceived on the right side of some ideological issues. Like they seem like the safer comedians. They're not ideologically as radicalized. But I feel like it kind of puts those comedians into these places where they're being forced to be intellectuals, where that's not what they signed up for. Like, that's not what Theo Von's been thinking. And now he's a smart guy. He's talking with all these intellectuals. He's developing these opinions. He doesn't know how to feel about the public perception of how to stand on opinions, you know, because he's just a human too, you know.
I do think that we need to stop asking comedians their opinions on current events as much as we have been.
I love that. I'm scripting a video right now about that, about how these people that we look to and like we respect them as actors or comedians or whatever are not necessarily people who we should respect as intellectuals or even factor their opinions as intellectuals.
I don't want to... I really...
conflate their roles with their intellectual capacity.
I don't want to talk so much about this now, but have you heard about the comedy festival that's happening in Saudi Arabia?
No, it isn't.
There's a comedy festival that's being put on in Saudi Arabia that has basically every top comedian currently that you can think of is performing there for like the regime.
Weird.
And everybody pretty much except for Shane Gillis is like the only person who turned it down.
Wow.
But Bill Burr is doing it.
Yeah.
Fucking my favorites, Sam Morril and Norm Macdonald, or not Norm Macdonald. Mark Normand. Yes, who's the modern Norm Macdonald?
Norm Jr.
And both of them were basically on the, because I love both of them, and they were basically on their podcast where they drink together, talking about how they were like, oh yeah, like it's money, like when they offer all the, but Pete Davidson, whose father died in 9/11, he's a part of it.
Wow.
The other guy, Sebastian, whatever, who's a big New York guy. It's literally all the big Louis C.K. All like the biggest. Dave is going. Bobby and Santana, like basically everybody who's anybody in the current scene. We can cut this out, but that's adjacent.
Well, I'm doing this.
We'll talk about that later.
I must say the only answer is I must become the new Norm Macdonald instead of Mark Normand.
Hey, Mark is still a G.
He's fucking hilarious.
So funny.
But we do the slips. Funny. We do the slips of paper.
Oh, are we doing that?
We're not going to do one.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to get away from the one subject, and I'm now starting to lose track of what the thing was I was talking about. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Theo.
Theo. Before we lost this, Morgan Lawrence with it. Oh God, did I do it again? I did this last time. I forgot a thing during the middle of it while I was thinking about a thing that I had to say.
That's fine. We can move on.
It becomes difficult. Oh, the pain. I had a different thing to say. But yeah. No, that's crazy. All of those...
It's, it's easy to sell out for money. And, hey, if... And I thought about this too. I was like, you know what? If the Saudis were offering me like probably some of those people probably got paid over $1 million. Most of those people probably got paid at least close to $1 million. And I'm like, you know what? Like my morals like could be bought. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
No!
It's a lot of money.
No!
Hey, Saudi Arabia, I got a tight 15.
Listen to it.
I got a tight 15.
Don't listen.
If you want me coming out for the...
He's funny, but come on, I'm just saying, no, I mean, I feel like there's a time to draw like a line in the sand in terms of those things, but I feel like it's hard, and I do feel for these.
You gotta have morals, but It's tough. Money makes the world go round.
I can't remember exactly what I was going to say, but just stemming off of that point before we get into the next one.
Yeah.
There is this surrounding landscape of actors who are thrust into these roles where people ask them their takes on things. And it's like we had the discussion earlier off screen about Jimmy Kimmel. It's like, and we might get into a little bit of that stuff.
You were saying how much of a fan of his you were?
Yes, he's the funniest guy around. But all of the actors in this sphere that are like offering him support, they're like all the ones who are just not politically insightful at all. And when you begin...
Well, don't say all, because it's not all.
Not all, but when you begin to track the trends of ideologues, you start seeing these intellectual vulnerabilities expressed in the sentiments of people like, say, a Bryan Cranston, or a Mark Ruffalo, or like a Rainn Wilson, or a Nick Offerman. They'll say something.
Three great actors.
They're all like... They've all been decent.
I was discluding Rainn there. That was a shit on you, Rainn Wilson.
Yeah. There's a lot of others. I have a list of a bunch of them written down. And it's like a spectrum in terms of this. But like a lot of actors who are in roles where they're kind of seen as somewhat of an intellectual are then gone and asked about their takes on things, and they have
everybody wants to know Dwight's opinion.
Well, he has a podcast.
I know.
And so he has a podcast where they bring on other celebrities where none of them know really anything, or they're vapid mouthpieces for some cause. But either way, I feel like it's interesting that people they're resorting to that space where they're like, hey, I want to be a podcaster. But it's like this just sheer expression of vanity. You know, like I think Rainn Wilson interviewed Bryan Cranston or someone else. There was some interview recently about these things. And I would have to pull up the exact one because I'm going to make a video about this soon. But it's just like you watch them talk to each other about these things. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, it's just like you've been out of touch with it for like 20 some years. You know, like you've been famous for so long. You can't at all relate like that your 90s liberal perspectives nowadays you're not like thinking about it, but the way you used to be would have probably been like today you would have been like a hardcore conservative, but they've just lost this track because Hollywood has accepted this direction where okay, this was the acceptable line of thinking for so long, and now we're seeing an institutional flip hinged around this Charlie Kirk assassination. Like I really feel like that like cancel culture is kind of this thing that just works both ways, and right now institutionally they're showing, hey, corporate standards are you can be canceled for these things. And so I think actors are being forced to acquiesce to those points as well. That's why like there's a lot of conciliatory points about, hey, I think that what happened to Charlie Kirk was wrong, you know. And that's why I can't understand the distinction for these people who are supportive of Jimmy Kimmel, because it's like they're making some big incredulous defense about First Amendment defense, but people on ABC get canceled all the time. Like Roseanne Barr she got canceled off of fucking her show. It's like the exact same thing, but she actually got canceled, you know? Whereas like now they're like, oh, well, it's bad for free speech. And it's like, they didn't even do anything. It was the fucking, the broadcasting company that imposed that. You know, it's crazy. I'm just saying. And even if they didn't, it's like fucking, it's reasonable. Can't lie about shit.
Yeah.
You know? And he's not funny. Jimmy Kimmel's not fucking funny. Let me clip this.
He can be.
Jimmy Kimmel is fucking not funny. And I will literally stand on the fact I don't think he's like ever been funny. There's maybe been situations in his private life where some miracle has aligned and he's been funny, but I swear to God he's never been funny.
I will say this.
At least not in 15 years.
The Matt Damon thing was funny the first couple of times.
What was that? A decade and a half ago?
That was funny the first couple of times.
I mean, come on. Like his little assistant guy's funny.
As an Oscar enjoyer, he's not a bad host.
He is just fucking empirically not funny. He's just not funny.
That's fine.
In terms of the late night host spectrum, he's not a Colbert. He's not a Stewart. He's not a Letterman. He's not a Fallon. He's none of them. He's not as intellectual or loved or funny or original as any of them.
Colbert also got canceled.
They would have just rallied around a pile of dog shit if they're willing to rally around Jimmy Kimmel. It could have been anyone who was willing to go out there and say the wrong thing.
All right, I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to get. I don't want to get too deep into this.
I don't know.
At this. Yeah, I know it's. I know that it's only. I know that it's only 4:30 in the afternoon, but I don't want to get too deep into these conversations.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. All right, as a class clown, as an actor, you also grew up with a love of movies.
That is true.
What was the first movie that really spawned your love of movies?
The first that really spawned my love of movies, that's it's tough, honestly, because I can think back to a lot of the movies that I liked when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like there was a ton of movies that I like just enjoyed watching when I was a kid. I always enjoyed movies. Like, I always enjoyed the escape of, like, watching, not even just movies, like TV, like media in general.
Yeah.
So one of the
Shows,
ways...
movies, cartoons.
One of the ways that I kind of describe myself is I was like, I was kind of an iPad kid before iPad kids were a thing.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, you had a console.
I was any
movies.
opportunity, Game Boy, any opportunity Screens. That I had to have a screen in front of me, dude, I had a screen in front of me. You and I
could have, like, 10 podcasts about childhood.
Yeah.
Just about fucking this stuff. Because I relate so hard to that, man.
So, I was always watching things. So you know that I'm a person who's consumed a lot of media.
Yes.
And one of the ways that I kind of describe myself is most people I would say the average person in their life has watched a decent amount of sports. And so what I say is, like, consider all of the time that you spent watching sports. I was probably watching TV or movies or playing video games. Yeah. Like, equivalent, you know?
With the mentality to put oneself out there to watch the things which you knew were culturally important.
In a lot of...
acknowledged as good.
In a lot of cases, yes.
Or new and relevant.
But in a lot of cases, I was just consuming slop. Like, whether it was movies, TV show, or video games. Sometimes I was just doing things for the sake of my own enjoyment.
Let's say in middle school, high school, by that time, by your senior year, you'd probably seen like 100 plus random movies from before the 90s, or 90s and earlier.
Oh, yeah, but also my mom...
Your folks were into content. Like, your movies were
my mom would definitely show us a lot of, like, classics.
Yeah. Yeah, and as an extension of, you know, wanting to act and wanting to be a comedian.
Oh, sure. And also my mom was always, like, very supportive of my, like, acting and comedic, like, endeavors. So she would always, like, just, like, anytime I would, like, anytime there was, like, an obscure, like, movie that I needed, like, parental permission to go to, or if we were one of the early adopters to Netflix back in the day when it was, like, mail delivery. Like, they would send you the DVDs in the mail. DVDs, for anybody who does not know who's watching, are like little discs that you used to be able to play to watch movies.
It's like a Frisbee.
It's like a Frisbee, yeah.
And it's like your iPhone if it were the Frisbee.
Yeah.
And you can watch it on your TV.
Or computer or console.
Whenever you're not gooning.
Yeah.
All right. Blind rank these leading men. Have you ever seen one of these where you 1 to 5?
Yeah.
Blind rank these leading men. Ryan Gosling.
It's five slots.
Yep. Blind rank him 1 to 5.
I will say I love Ryan Gosling. I know
you're a big fan of the movie Drive.
I do love Drive.
Yes.
I also know how you like kind of think. So I'm gonna put him at 4.
4. Okay.
I would say naturally I was gonna say 3 was what my heart said, but because how I think I know how you think, I'm gonna put him at 4.
Bradley Cooper.
Oh fuck, 5. Yeah, he's at the bottom. He sucks. I'm not a fan, personally.
Clint Eastwood.
3.
3.
Yeah. I feel confident about that. Oh God, you left me some shit. Oh, you
Ray
left me
Liotta.
2. Okay.
You're number 1. James McAvoy.
Oh fuck.
I like James McAvoy. X-Men First Class.
Damn. I mean, all that can say. I mean, not a lot of great choices, honestly.
I mean, you have fucking Clint Eastwood in there.
That's what I'm saying. Clint Eastwood would be, with this list, Clint Eastwood would be my number 1.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And that's why I'm saying it's not a great list. If Clint Eastwood's my number 1, it's not a great list.
Clint Eastwood's okay. Okay, Clint Eastwood. Let's just for our sake.
Yeah,
Clint
he's better than Ryan
10.
Gosling, Bradley Cooper, Ray Liotta, and James
Clint
McAvoy.
Eastwood is objectively, in my eyes,
you didn't give me. You're not going to give me De Niro. You're not going to give me Pacino. You're not going to give me Brando.
All time.
You're not even.
Would you disagree with that?
You, of all people, aren't going to give me Cary Grant.
Would you disagree that Clint Eastwood's a top 15 leading man of all time?
No, that's why I said he would get top 1 of this list.
When you heard that, you should have said 2.
Well, I didn't know. I figured you were gonna give me something heavier than fucking Clint.
Well, let me tell you, I'm real good at rock.
I'm
real good at rock, paper, scissors.
A dude whose name is Clint.
Okay,
objectively,
he is
awful name.
He is an amazing
awful name. If anybody
the Dirty
watching
Harry trilogy,
this name Clint,
he had the Dirty Harry trilogy. He had Unforgiven. He had all the movies he made when he was old. He's
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, that movie with that lady.
You got another?
Here, read this.
I read this.
Yeah.
Women are airheads because all they think about is vacuuming. And see, that's funny because what vacuums do is they do air. And women do vacuums. That's why that's funny.
Here, give it one more time now that you've read it.
Women are airheads because all they think about is vacuuming. I think it's just as funny the second time, personally.
This is decent. Alright. We're going to do some trivia here. You and I are going to compete in some trivia. Okay.
But you have the answers, so how are we competing?
Just whenever you know the answer, or you think you know the answer, just shout it out. Okay?
But it's not a competition.
Yeah,
right?
you and I are competing against each other to get the answer first and right. Alright, trivia. Okay. Alright, ready?
Okay.
Alright. What year did Jaws come out? 1975. So nice, good round.
Okay, I
did get it right.
For a second, I was like, "Oh, are you gonna say like the wrong answer, and I have to correct you? Like it's like actually thing." It's just a bullshit.
All right.
Thing. Okay.
How old was Jamie Lee Curtis in the original Halloween? 19.
20.
Close. She was 19 though.
That was my second guess. Was honestly, it was wrong. It was 18. So I probably said 20.
Wow. All right.
It's still wrong, but
okay. Ready? Who directed Field of Dreams? Phil Alden Robinson.
You fucking bitch.
Good try.
And the second most famous movie that he directed is what?
I don't know, but it wasn't one of the questions.
Yeah.
And even if it was, you got at best 1 out of 4.
I also don't know.
I'll give you 1 out of 4.
I've never heard of that guy.
Oh, you're just proving that I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
That's smart. I should have fucking looked. I should have looked.
You could have said anything. You could have called me on my bluff. Bad poker player here. Okay. I've won money off you before, so that is a fact.
Good old poker. What is you winning off of me a concession?
That you're a bad poker player?
That you're a bad concession of you being a bad poker player?
No, that you're a bad poker player.
If you've won money off of me, though,
so you're
I'm
bad.
A bad poker player.
Then, yeah, that confirms what I know.
I'm just saying, who knows? All right. Into what we were talking about earlier, South Park.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of, in terms, you're a fan of a lot of media.
Yeah.
South Park's one of your absolute favorites, wouldn't you say?
No.
Oh, okay. I was mistaken.
But
he likes the View.
But I have been I've been a South Park fan the majority.
Would you unironically say that South
Yes.
Park's not one of your favorite pieces of media?
No.
Have things changed that much? Not top 10?
You know, it's actually funny.
You have to think there's
it is actually funny that you asked this because we've been talking so much about like primary education tonight. When we were at can we say the school?
Yeah,
whatever. When we were at Urbana in 9th grade, when I was in my health class, we did a thing where it was like we wrote a letter to, or we filled out a questionnaire, and then we like our teacher mailed it to us 4 years later, so that we could see like the answers to the questions that we like answered at the time. And when I was in 9th grade health class, the answer to the question of what is your favorite TV show, I did write South Park. Wow. So it is something that is.
But right now, what would you say? Like in terms of like,
it's definitely
factoring the fullness of all of the things you ever liked in terms of medias and shows specifically. Is it not a top 10? It's got to be.
Well, in terms of all franchises.
I mean, what else is there?
Fallout.
Well, I mean, that are like shows and like, or like.
Oh well, if we're only talking shows,
you could even broaden it, I guess, to concepts.
No. In all honesty, I mean, like since I've grown, I would say that I would have like since I've grown, I've had things that have surpassed it, like The Sopranos or Mad Men. Mad Men's a big one for me. I love Mad Men. Breaking Bad. Watching that recently? I rewatch Mad Men probably once every other year, like around that. Like I've watched it a lot. I did one.
Do you ever go back and watch old South Park episodes?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
One thing that I also did want to, I didn't even mean to just do this for the interview. But one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, just because it was something that was kind of funny to me, was I was thinking about characters in pretty much TV shows that I hated at the beginning of the shows that I loved by the end of the shows.
Yeah.
So the biggest one for me is Pete from Mad Men. I despised him at the beginning, loved him by the end. Another one for me is Shikamaru from Naruto. When I first started watching Naruto, I hated Shikamaru. Every single time that he was on screen, he's like, what a drag. This is so boring. Like, I hated him. And then, once I saw what he could do, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, that was just
the consequence of high intellect is often nihilism.
Sure,
is not a
Shikamaru is a very smart guy.
To vivacious people like yourselves, they don't want to associate. Nihilists.
But there was one other big one that I was thinking of that I can't really think of right now that I wanted to talk with you about. But anyway, completely besides the point.
What do you think about South Park pulling the episode out of the rotation of on-air exhibition, the Charlie Kirk episode?
I don't personally think that it was... as a South Park fan, I don't personally think that it was Matt and Trey's
You did watch
decision. When it came out, yeah.
So even though we may have whiffed. Guys, I know this my friend very well, but maybe he's not as big a South Park guy as I thought. But he does still watch the episodes as they come out. And so, your thoughts.
And I can definitely say, like, I know South Park enough to be able to talk about it. I'm current.
He's a super fan.
Sure.
Born bona fide.
Sure. Hey, I have that I have a tattoo on my upper thigh that says, what does it say?
No fucking clue.
You know what it says.
You're going to hell, bro. You have a tattoo?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to Jewish hell, which doesn't exist.
You can't have a tattoo.
It says, Kyle's mom's a bitch.
Wow.
On my upper inner thigh.
But so you don't think it was their call? Well, I agree with that.
I don't, no.
Do you think that it's been their call to not post a tweet or a message or anything offering condolences just to Charlie?
Do they
to
owe
Charlie's
it?
family?
Do they have to?
Well, I think it's something that like a more socially conscious entity would do because that's an acknowledgement of the reality.
What other comments and have they made on
I just think it would
things?
be well, there hasn't been a situation like this. For one, this situation is so radically different to others. Like we were kind of talking briefly about.
So
earlier,
can I
just
because we're referencing this,
right?
I would like to compare it to one other situation. When the Boston bombings happened, a week before, there was an episode of Family Guy or I don't know if it was exactly a week before, but it was within a month or so.
Yeah.
There was an episode of Family Guy that had come out where Peter had driven a car through, I don't remember if it was exactly the Boston Marathon, but it was a marathon, and I think it was adjacent to the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, I remember.
And same deal. They pulled the episode. I don't recall Seth MacFarlane making a comment about the Boston bombings.
No, but I
why
think that
do
it's like
why do they owe a comment?
Well, it's not that they owe the comment. It's like I'm just asking, do you think that they should, in a sense, feel, since they're referencing like a specific person and his actions... Were we
not just talking about how comedians shouldn't be asked their opinion on things? Why do we only ask comedians their opinions on things when it's relevant?
Well, I think it's like...
that's a dumb question.
To me, this is the kind of thing where it's like, as comedians, as storytellers, as whatever, as you and I are hoping to eventually get into a narrative storytelling opportunity, I feel like there's some duty to understanding the role of parody and then just also the natural facts of just being a person, just being a decent human.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're making a parody of Charlie Kirk, who loved it. He loved the parody.
Yeah.
He thought it was hilarious.
I've read that.
Yeah. And there's lots of videos of him watching it and thinking it was so funny. And they pulled it, and his team is rallied around the fact that wouldn't have wanted that.
Yeah,
he would have wanted the episode to still be out. And I don't think that they should feel any pressure one way or another to leave the episode up or not. But I think that South Park...
Well, you know that I'm pro them leaving every South Park, even because South Park has pulled multiple episodes in the past, and I wish all of those episodes would be brought back.
To me, South Park, in the same way but different to Charlie Kirk, represents a bastion of the inhabitants of freedom of speech and the glory of freedom of speech. And I feel like they should... and this isn't me being the moral arbiter of how people should be, but I feel like they should seize that opportunity to clarify that they view freedom of speech as something worth defending. And it was attacked on that day. Mm-hmm. And I think to have parodied him, but to not make a statement isn't that, you know, they're bad or horrible. But it strikes me, the word that evokes is gutless. Because I feel like the obvious thing to do is to say, hey, we disavow crimes that are centered around saying something objectionable because we've made our entire careers off of saying things that are objectionable.
I do not disagree that it would be good. It would have been a good thing. Yes,
and like, when did we get away societally from just doing nice gestures?
I do not disagree that it would have been a good move and a good thing all the for time. Them. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that they have an obligation to do so. I also feel that like it's a touchy subject. Yeah. I mean, that's again, like, that's kind of a weak standpoint to take, especially from their perspective when they have as much influence as they do, and especially when they have just commented, literally, like, made an image of the person who died. Yeah. Like, I fully get that.
Like, doesn't it feel like we all need to...
I fully get that. Yeah. At the same time...
Yeah.
At the same time, and this is gonna kind of seem like a... like, kind of like a, maybe like a wishy-washy, like, standpoint to take. But, like, were they to make a statement, there's still going to be a lot of people who aren't going to be happy with whatever, like, even not even just the people.
It's just one
not even just the people who are, like, quote unquote, like happy about what happened, like, being like, oh, you made a statement, like oh, bad, like,
it just
whatever.
Feels like they shouldn't be deliberately appeasing a radicalized segment of their audience.
My thing is, like, how many statements has South Park made in the past regarding current events that has not, like, directly involved, like, their show being fucking, like, pulled
This is what I'd say. In the same way you say that you don't think that Matt Stone and Trey Parker made the decision about the episode being pulled.
Yeah.
I agree, and I wonder if, like, the $1.5 billion that they were paid are the same people that pulled the episode. For one, they pulled the episode and then maybe told them to not say anything.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like the same people that, like, have the nuanced takes that they had on, like, the Mormon community, where they're like, yeah, they believe a bunch of stupid bullshit, but they're good people. Look at how they behave. It's that kind of nuance is what we always relied on South Park for, versus other forms of media that offered even more caricaturized takes. And this is an opportunity where they were acknowledging, hey, this is something that's going on in our country. Charlie Kirk going out and talking to these college kids. And then they're like, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a slam dunk for them to be like, hey, that's a big deal.
That's
like,
valid. I mean, there's also, there's a thing to be said about, like, getting too big. Did you see the statement that the South Park writers made a couple days ago?
No, what?
They basically said something to the effect of, they were like, we do not intend to write anything that comments on current political events. It is not our, like, position to comment on current political events. And it's like, but if you look at Simpsons historically, obviously, there's been, they haven't, like, in the past.
Oh, it was The Simpsons that said this? Oh.
So, in the past, like, obviously, historically, The Simpsons have not held punches politically.
Yeah.
So, for them to make a statement,
like that,
basically saying that, it's like, oh, yeah, clearly there is some overarching thing where like they've been told internally like it's all just it's about a family now. Just make family stories.
To me, this is like an extension of the conversation we were having off screen, where a lot of these writers nowadays have like an ideological standpoint, and it's very difficult for them to just craft a human story.
Yeah.
And that's why we see them struggling. Like, a lot of people have been hypercritical of the recent Futurama season because it's just like
I stopped watching.
They don't get it anymore. They don't get how to say a nuanced human story because they don't understand how people really are. They're just trying to placate what they think is the best of the human condition.
Yeah.
And the only time that they'll offer you satire is when they're offering you pretty much two-dimensional caricatures of what they view as wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they want kudos. They don't want laughs. They want kudos.
Simpsons.
Oh, did they make that joke? Kudos or something?
Kudos is like one of the names of like the two aliens, I think, that like are currently associated with politics on The Simpsons.
Wow.
It's like the thing is like, don't blame me. I voted for kudos. That's like the whole like thing. I think somebody, if I'm wrong, somebody's I'm sure gonna flame me in the comments. But I think that's the thing.
But yeah. People just a lot of that. I mean, kudos.
If anybody made it this far,
kudos is a great term just in terms of like how people view political currency these days. They want just credit for being like, hey, I was being really moral and idealistic about this point.
Yeah.
But let's not get too much back into the politics stuff we were talking about off screen.
Yeah.
There isn't too much more I have. I mean, if you wanted to talk at all about any of your hobbies or pursuits, you know, or what is there any important gleanings? Let me think if there's any conversational things. What do you think about the inflict of AI in film? All right. The night is old. It was at one point young, but the night has gotten on. If we ever revisit this, we have a fantastic grounding to revisit. But before we go, you had a morsel, something that you mentioned earlier that you wanted to bring up during this?
I did. When I was on the car ride over here, I was thinking about something. So I just recently achieved a lifelong goal that you actually were a part of helping me accomplish.
What's that?
I just achieved 100% achievement completion for Fallout 3.
Lovely.
On the Xbox.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got you the proliferator or the
perforator. Whatever the achievement is, probably one of the hardest achievements in the game.
Broken steel.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to collect the 100 steel ingots in the broken steel achievement, and Bob sat there with me one night for probably like a good 2 or 3 hours.
We got that,
and we got every single one of those things, and that was probably at this point a good 8 or 9 years ago.
It was a break.
And it's so I looked at my achievements after I finished everything. I had it was 8 individual years that I got achievements for that game.
8 unique years.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's how I got my first achievement for that game in 2008. So that's 16 or 17 years that I've been working towards.
You know what's funny, when you were talking about those life goals or those goals,
that's my greatest achievement in life. I can die now.
Please. I go to that top 100 list of movies.
Oh yeah.
And I still haven't completed that. But let me ask real quick.
For reference, that is the AFI, the American Film Institute Top 100.
The anniversary.
Which there is 2. There is which still pisses me off.
There should have been a 25th.
Pisses me off.
What happened?
They did one in the 90s They did one 10 years later,
10,
and then they haven't updated it.
25.
Because movies suck.
But let me
They
ask,
haven't done any notable movies to add to it.
There was a movie, I think maybe New York Times.
They had Avatar to it.
Did you watch that?
Say again?
There was like a New York Times top 100 recently, like top 100 movies to watch. Did you read that list at all?
No, because they're always the same lists now.
Yeah,
like it's all just like that, like the AFI list basically with like some
the obliging titles
Yeah.
added in, or
Yeah.
like titles that you feel like maybe are like, really?
Yeah.
Are they? I don't know. Like I don't know. We were talking about like the idea of like films getting to this point where it's like kind of hard to differentiate, you know, where there's not like ones that are clear separations.
We also had a conversation at a point about how that specific list, the AFI Top 100, isn't necessarily the 100 best American movies of all time. It's the 100 most influential American movies of all time.
Yeah, or like greatest accomplishments.
That's something that's hard to build on.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I think if you made a modern AFI Top 100 and you're talking about influential rather than best, I think two of the only movies that get added to that.
Hit me.
One is Avatar.
No, fuck that.
Nope.
Avatar.
Nope.
Fucking
it's
sucks.
influential.
It
changed.
Sucks.
It does. But
it's
and
so
I don't even
bad.
like it. I didn't even finish the first one. I didn't watch the sequel.
It sucks.
But it changed the landscape of film for the next 10 years.
It's just
the number 2 is the OG Iron Man.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it spawned the MCU. And the MCU...
I agree with what you're saying.
MCU,
I was thinking about this. Where
the
it's
MCU shaped basically what modern blockbusters are, which is how films are pretty much made now.
Two things. If they were to make a list now, I think that we're beyond the point now where we can look at the movies that were in our childhood as being a part of history. And so you can start to make those distinctions where if you were to start making a list of the top 100 movies of all times now, you would be like, okay, this movie was really, really good in 1950 and some people still know about it, but it's really not one of the zeitgeist must-knows that overrides this one, which will still be in 50 to 100 years one of the most referenced films.
And see, you have a problem with Avatar being on there.
Dude,
but
Avatar, I feel like will age like
Titanic's on there
dude.
For the same reasons that Avatar would be on there.
Titanic's fine, and it's a standalone. And even if Avatar was good, they're cheapening it with the sequels, but it's just ass. It's self-indulgent.
I disagree with that notion.
But I'm not saying that no recent movies could come out and be on that list, but I just think that it's just to me it's just soft. It's a low concept movie in execution, not even necessarily in concept. I just think it's not much.
I agree. It also revolutionized CGI.
That's fine.
And that's why it's on the list.
Give it to fucking WALL-E then, or like
WALL-E's great.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's why,
great.
But that's why Toy Story's on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it created WALL-E.
Do we need to give one to Avatar if we have good animated movies on the list?
You do, because it's one of the most it's one of the 100 most influential.
I just
American
draw the
movies.
distinction
whether you like it or not. I don't like it, but it's one of the top 100 most influential.
But on actual aesthetics, think about a movie like we've had this talk. I think Pirates of the Caribbean,
and
the first one is so much more defensible.
Fucking Bringing Up Baby is on that shit. Have you watched that?
Bringing Up Baby's fine.
Bringing Up Baby sucks.
Dude, it literally has it has like the golden trio.
Tiger.
It has the golden trio of old Hollywood and Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn.
That shit's at like 52. Like that shit's way too high.
Think about that cast. Cary Grant.
That might be wrong. Correct me in the edit if
Cary
that's
Grant,
not at 52.
Katharine Hepburn, James Stewart. Think about that cast. That would be like today. That fucking can't. Who even is those people today? There's no people that are running Hollywood to the degree that all three of those people were at the same time, and people love that movie.
And the Tiger. Don't
forget
the Tiger.
It's funny. It's a good movie. But I'm just saying, like in terms of iconicism, like I think if we were to write a top 100 movie, we could go and preen through the list and be like, okay, there's movies that maybe weren't on the list that are more iconic that should be on the list that represent those times well. And then maybe there's too many of this era that like represent this style of film, and we have to put in more movies from like the 90s or 2000s to fill out that. And like I think a movie like Pirates of the Caribbean, movies that like nail an aesthetic and just executed it really well and will go down and be remembered, are going to age really well. And then ones where it's like looser, like even Bringing Baby, because there's the Philadelphia Story. The existence of the Philadelphia Story loosens the claim for Bringing Up Baby to be there because there's a better movie with the same cast. You know what I mean? And so like so
Pirates of the Caribbean makes the cut,
dude. Absolutely,
Avatar doesn't.
Yeah, do you think so?
I think they're both. I think they're both up there.
In terms of your opinion, which one's more iconic? Which one's more memorable? Which one's better?
Better Pirates of the Caribbean. More memorable Pirates of the Caribbean. More iconic. That's tough. I don't like Avatar, but Avatar a lot of people do.
I honestly think Avatar is just weak. But it's not also, to say it's all encompassing bad. It's not bad popcorn entertainment. It's just too long.
That's where I'll put it for the iconic, because Pirates of the Caribbean, if you remove Jack Sparrow, it's just
still Bootstrap Bill Turner and the what's his name pirates. With the tentacles, and Keira Knightley, Davy Jones,
existing character.
Dude, it's all so good.
That's an existing IP.
and Barbosa, the whole aesthetic is nice, and it's a period piece. And okay, so if we're really scrutinizing, I feel like if we're trying to make a top 100 list for movies, there are a lot of standouts. But it does take some discernment to really say, okay, this one actually hits a certain spot.
So I'm pretty sure you've seen it. There's the list for the 500 like applicants for the second top 100 list. Have you seen that?
No, I don't know.
You haven't seen that?
No.
So there's
500 is long. It's like so hard to read.
So there's like a second list, and I'm pretty sure that Pirates is on.
It should be. It should be. It nailed it, and even the sequels aren't bad. But like, if I'm thinking about the 2000s,
and I agree, it's a great movie.
Yeah, if I'm thinking about the 2000s, there are a few movies that really did nail it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that should be, because when you think about the genre, it's defined by those movies. Like Pride and Prejudice, realistically, that's a top 100 movie of all time. There's not a better.
Which one?
Like.
I haven't seen any of them.
The Keira Knightley one.
Okay.
Like, there's not really a better executed Jane Austen style time period movie. What's the word? For when it's like immersive to a time period. What am I looking for? Period flick.
Yeah.
It's like super well executed. It's like one of the best serious romantic films of all time.
Well, I know Tom from Succession is in it, so it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah. No, dude, the movie's fantastic. And
he's Mr.
got a great
Darcy.
Score. There were a lot of great movies from that era. Yeah. And one of our cats are named Bingley and Darcy. Yeah, from that movie. You should check that one out. I really think that would be top 100.
You ever seen Atonement?
Yeah, Atonement's a great
movie.
Pride
not American.
Yeah. Pride and Prejudice is probably better than Atonement, but Atonement's really good too. You know, the mood of Atonement is like inspired by Pride and Prejudice. That's another Jane Austen movie. And Sense and Sensibility with like Hugh Grant came out in the 90s, and Emma Thompson was in that too, and people love that one too. But like in terms of like all of those movies, the Pride and Prejudice is like the home run.
Yeah.
I feel like I was recommending it to a buddy of mine's girlfriend the other day. She was like talking about how she liked romantic movies and she had never seen Pride and Prejudice. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what? There's just this movie that came out from like our peak childhood that's like a cinematic masterpiece, genuinely. And a lot of people wouldn't think to be like, oh yeah, it should be a top 100. Tropic Thunder should be a top 100.
Great movie.
right? Can you name 99 movies that have better viewing value or better cultural contribution for their time than Tropic fucking Thunder?
I think you've asked me that before.
Well, never on this. But it is getting late. It is getting late, so we should probably lean towards our salutations for the evening. Yes. But we've opened up the arena for more, and I really appreciate your time, brother.
Oh, of course.
Having you here has been nothing but a true pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for our second episode.
Oh, that's presumptive of you, but... No, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I would always be happy to come back.
Okay. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for viewing. Peace.